we can say we did it.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Okay.
I want to read my computer, I think. I'm sorry.
So I
I think
need
I've got everything I need.
all
though.
of my stuff before I went out of town last time.
Yeah, because Peter and I talked about it with your notes and stuff.
Okay.
So this was.
Yeah. All of today's agenda I put on there was just all the stuff we didn't get to already.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple things we have to check up on, right? I think that was
Yeah.
about it.
And I have answers for some of those.
Yeah.
Let me sort through my,
I'm gonna write that down. Board meeting resolution, what I have to say. Right.
what is this? Hey, Sandy.
Yeah.
Can you bring down those other agendas you have in my laptop as well, please?
I sure can. How
I'm
many?
sorry.
I only have one other one printed. How many would you like?
Do you need an agenda?
No, I got my.
Oh, we're good.
No,
Just
no.
just the one is fine. And then my laptop, please.
You got it.
Thank you. Trying to keep all this organized. This is quite enjoyable.
It's not easy.
So the board committees, are you okay if I just go through the agenda and tell you what we've got?
Yes.
Because I think this will be helpful. Some of these are old from last week. So the board committees, I don't think I have a copy of it, but Sandy has a copy of it. And the agenda she sent out yesterday, the old policy for board committees. We actually found the one that had the, not people operations. What was the,
I think I have it on my phone.
The one from 41.
Yeah.
Oh, I can.
I was gonna go to the one from, yeah, I think you got it right there. It
Yeah,
has all
yeah.
the old committees struck out. Because the draft policy that NISBA sent didn't have the committees on it, remember?
Yeah. Okay.
And so now this one, that one has the old ones that we took out, and the reason we didn't move it forward yet was we wanted to add that language back in. So I just wanted to make sure that we're comfortable with the language in that old policy before we,
Move forward.
yeah,
So this would have been in the attachment for.
yesterday.
Okay.
It's the old policy
40.
40, right?
Yeah, that's what, unless there's a new, unless it has a different number.
Nope, you're right, old policy 24.
So Sandy sent something out yesterday about,
She just sent the agenda.
I should go back into it.
Um,
Did you talk about the, just the agenda? Okay, I know there was, she
In
sent,
the agenda, I thought she sent the supporting documents.
not from the one from August 25th. I just got the agenda. And then I
She
think
didn't
it-
include that then?
and then it's just page 1 of 1, so there's no other,
In the agenda for August 29th, there's all the,
yeah, all the policies moving forward, right? That's what you're looking at, yeah, yeah. Right, and is that the one you're referring to, Peter? With the
Yeah.
update? Okay, that's just a different email, okay.
this one says, it should be 2260, right?
She didn't send it along then. She put them in the.
So you put them all with the draft agenda
That's what
stuff?
you get copies of. Yeah, because we found the old one that had all the
Oh, the
language.
language in it, okay, that's what he's looking for, okay.
We'll need to be updated, right? Advisory committees is showing us 2260.
No, that's different than this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I do or something different, that's another policy.
Maybe it's, oh, it's probably not more than. So bring the laptop.
Yeah, I was gonna find mine was right in my bag and I said, I don't really need it, because usually we put it up in the big one, so. That's why I didn't bring mine,
Yes.
but he's going to get a copy. I think they found a different one from what I gathered from his talk.
Okay. And like,
I think these are just the ones that are moving forward.
I mean, I already have.
I don't think it's these because why confuse them? I think these are just the ones that are moving forward and this one isn't yet.
So is the expectation that, like when I need to learn this part. So I'm gonna read through these and what is the resolution? It says resolution to accept the first reading. What is that really meaning, the first reading? That we
Oh,
read it and now that we're saying that it's ready for them to read?
Oh, no, that's why everybody got it. So they have this for the first read. So
Okay.
everybody, if they have chosen to do so, have read it for the first read and they're agreeing that it's okay to move forward for the second read. In case you want to make any changes, if, let's say somebody read the first read. Oh, we think this way would be better. So it'll go back and get changed, get sent out for the second read and then for approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if, let's say, what's the first one? Quorum, nice and easy one.
It is.
So no one has any feedback or changes, then it's just done.
No,
If
it
ever-
would still go to the second read, but it would just, you do the same thing for the second read and then it would be approved. And then
Okay.
it would become adopted.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say resolution to accept the first reading of policy. Oh my God, this is gonna be. So after I say resolve that upon the recommendation, the first reading be accepted by the Board of Education. And then what do I say after that?
Let me say, I move the resolution.
I move to resolution,
I think.
and then that's when
I
someone
think,
says I second.
I think, I don't know if it's two or the, I don't know what. I thought I moved the resolution, but maybe it's two, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, and then I move the resolution, somebody second, and I think Joe usually says.
All in favor?
After the second, yeah, after the second person, yeah. Seconded by, and then so second. Yeah.
Okay,
All in favor, resolution passes, or however he says it,
resolution.
carries.
Resolution. All in favor?
I think just- Seconded.
All in favor? All opposed?
Yeah, however we said, it. You don't have to worry about that, Joe takes care of that.
Okay.
You just have to move the resolution. I was always so worried about it, and I was like. Okay. Yeah, resolutions, appoint extracurricular club, is listed below, I move the resolution.
Okay. Sorry. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
And then someone seconded it.
And what
It
about,
was not raining, I was just for a walk in the cemetery with the Jervis Cemetery. And it was just that far from here, but it wasn't raining at all. And then I get close and close to the base, I can see the sky and it started to sprinkle, but. Now it sounds like it's.
You might be able to do
Wish I
something.
left people in the car.
I'm sorry about that, ladies.
No, it's, this is a.
These are all the policies and associated ones from the past
Okay,
on the agenda. And the, and so the board committees one is on the back. It's one of these. About halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through, so the old board committees.
so it's an RCD one,
Yes,
okay, so it'll be somewhere in this pile, is what you're saying. Okay.
yeah, about halfway
Oh,
through.
they're free, okay, so they're not in any, necessarily any order, okay. I got it.
So
Okay.
it's got the old instruction and services committees
Okay.
stuff and the old personnel committee stuff. And I figured we might as well just review that language, and if it still holds true, just fold it into the new policy for ed programs and people ops, and then that one's good to go.
Okay. Now, how,
Okay.
I'm just gonna say how confusing this is to me, because this was a draft from 320, but it was adopted in 420.
Yeah.
How did that, it doesn't make, you see where I'm confused? It doesn't. How did that
Probably
happen?
because we spent a lot of time debating the committees back then.
Okay.
So anything struck out did not
was
make
re-
it to the
was
approved.
removed, correct. So it's not when they, so when they shifted over the policy, they didn't have that information,
Okay,
but I just figured those committees, they haven't really changed in scope, to be honest with you. I mean, people operations is a little bit less of a working committee than, and the old instruction and services might have been, but they still do the same function for the most part, just getting information and reviewing data and having conversation about the programs.
I'm with it now. I got it. So you're saying basically just put the,
Just put the old
Committees back
language
in.
back in, right? It's
how
pretty
much of
what
it,
we
out,
do.
except,
immediately following. Do we do that? Nominate 3 board members to each of the following.
Supposed to.
you're supposed to.
Yeah.
supposed to
Did we do
agree.
that?
Yeah,
I
we
think
ask,
it,
we take a chairperson and then we ask for other people to want to join,
That's right.
yeah.
Feels like so long ago.
doesn't it? It was 7 weeks.
Um,
I got it.
okay, so standing committees are just 2 required.
I mean, they didn't really do anything to our policy other than to shift it over.
Just shift over.
So that's why I would suggest for at least now, I mean, I'm not totally in love with the language for any of the committees on what they shall do. But for now, to get it moving, I would be okay with just shifting the old language back in for people operations and their programs, and then we can look at the duties, if you will, at a different time. And I don't necessarily think, I think the way the committees function are actually great, but we're not reviewing resolutions per se. We're talking about what's going to be there, right? But we're not reading through them.
No, I don't think they ever have. I mean, not.
Right, like I
not
don't,
my tenure.
I think the language in the policy for what the committees are supposed to do is a little bit more legalese than we actually want them to function like.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's perfectly fine as it is until you find somebody that wants to call into question what you're doing, and then you go back and you say, oh,
So what would we do? Replace it with this wording from NISBA about the committee of, oh, it's pretty much the same, right?
the
Yeah.
2250 is the,
The NISBA one, yeah.
yeah, so I would just take what they've given us as a draft.
And then
And
add
because
them
we
in.
have people operations and ed programs,
Yeah.
I would just take what is in the old
Old
policy
one
that
and
struck
put it
out
in.
and just put it in there.
Okay.
And then move it forward, and then at another date, go back and say, do a deep dive in what we want the committees to really be doing. Only because right now, we don't really have any. I don't know of any concerns with how the committees are functioning, right? But I think if we start diving into that language, we're gonna open up a hornet's nest that'll cause us just to delay the process forever, so.
I know what you're saying.
And this does talk about. Do we need any wording? Oh, because it would be under the special committee section, like these other 3.
What other 3?
Ed programs, facilities.
We would add facilities we don't have, but I would add ed programs and people operations to the standing committees
Okay.
list on here, and then pull that language into where the duties for each standing committee shall be as follows. We'll add that there.
Okay,
And then I would think this one would be good.
Good to go.
I'm good with that. So special committees would be like, just for my own knowledge,
could
that would
be
be like
Ad
the
hoc,
redistricting.
redistricting. Yeah, you
Um,
could, I mean,
the secure, what do we do? Safety, right? We have a safety.
safety,
This,
Is that a committee technically, or just a,
I think they're called a committee, but they're really it's a legal requirement that they get together twice a year and just review documents and make sure that they're good to go, and it's not,
is that advisory? Is that one of the advisory, would it be advisory?
I think it probably would fall under advisory,
You know, that's one of the ones we're gonna talk about.
but they're not really,
Advisory,
it's not really a function of the school board. It's
yeah,
a function of the district.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different.
but the board member can be on, is the board member required to be on that one?
I believe so.
Okay,
We definitely have a board member on. always.
yeah, no, I know.
all
I
right,
think 2 people signed up for it, I think.
Mhm.
so that one's good. Just need to add language. So then, just because I missed last time, so is you go back and have the changes made to these that we agree? Okay,
And usually, if there's something that, like on this case, we pretty much agree with what the language is gonna be, I just add it and send it forward to you guys. If it's something where it's like, we're discussing what the language should be, but we're not sure, we'll make the edits and then bring it back here and say, let's read it together and see if we like how that wound up.
okay. All right, annual organization meeting.
This one, we might not be able to do anything about today. I just, once we get agendas rolling, I like to keep things on there that aren't done, so we don't lose sight of them. But this was one that we felt that we probably needed to talk to the group about, I thought.
Oh, this is. Oh, it just goes in much more detail.
And I'm just- well, I think one of my first, supposed to know when I was doing my quote unquote homework, I had a question about moving forward, because it looked like it was fairly okay, but then I get the question on page. I'm in the NISBA one, on the page 3, the designated educational official. Is a position required by the Project Save legislation, we weren't even sure what that was. So I think
Right.
that's why we didn't want to move it forward, because we weren't even sure if we,
Oh, like some of all these.
Right,
yeah, if we had those, and then there was the thing about the attendance. The board, I think it was 2 pages over, the board shall also review building level attendance data is required. And the commission's regulation, that was on 5th page, right before all the cross references. I think we said, well, maybe we better do that.
Which one is that?
So, well, your page is probably different than mine, so right where your thumb is,
This note?
no, the one,
This one?
yeah,
Which shall review its policies on investments and purchasing for the conduct, which shall also review building level student attendance.
I think that's why we didn't move, that's
right.
That's why we were holding, because we didn't know what we wanted to find out what those were. What we needed to do.
And 5100 is one of the ones that they, I'm assuming they gave us.
We haven't got to 5100, so I don't know.
Yeah, we're not even close
Yeah.
to that.
Okay,
And that might be our pilots.
So
Might
these
be our
are,
policy.
this is one that we're gonna probably wanna, yeah, the 2 questions were the Project Save legislation paragraph and then the attendance piece. And the attendance piece is not. The note I wrote down, Karen, was that we just need to do it.
Yeah,
I think
that's
we agree it's probably a good idea to have us
Yeah,
part of the
that's-
meeting,
that's-
and
right.
that'll probably be like the one business item really that's just not standardized. And it looks like chronic absenteeism is going to be the focus of
Yeah,
that sub period, so it's probably a good idea.
good idea to do. But I didn't think we had any problem with the wording or anything, that's what I thought anyways, and we, and I think we're gonna make sure we hit all those that are appropriate for the district, and if we're gonna remove any, or just keep them all there. So I didn't think it had to go to, I didn't get the impression we had to go to the full board with this one. This wasn't one that I had marked.
Oh,
there,
okay, we
but
just need to figure out what the
yes.
designated education official, we don't
Yeah, it might not, I mean, this came from
have
them,
that, yeah,
so,
we don't appoint that normally.
so maybe we don't need it,
I think we probably
but
do, I'm gonna guess that we're gonna be told that they're going to assume that that person is the superintendent.
yeah. I mean,
Which
and
position is this?
it's the one here, and yours is different, formatted different. The designated educational official. And we, and would you even know what Project Save was? I mean, I didn't know what it was, but I think that was a
No.
question too. So, and I don't know how recent this one was,
No,
maybe
I'm
it's,
not familiar with Project Save, but it's probably just their language, probably a fancy bill for some, it has to do clearly with the criminal justice system.
Okay, so confirming the DEO. Sounds like CEO.
yeah.
And
I
then,
mean, I know there's a lot about getting kids that are in the juvenile system, so making sure they're getting an education. I was just reading about that the other day, looking for something on ed. For special ed, actually. But I think with a little bit, if we can find it, I think this can move forward, but
I'll verify with the attorneys and send an email.
okay.
question on the student attendance piece. Is that something that would probably happen in like ed programs or as part of?
We would normally talk
Like the
about
report
student
out?
attendance there. But we've never really done anything formal with it. I mean, normally, anytime we do something formal with it, I'm kind of a jerk. So when I do student attendance, I always report on staff attendance too, and it pisses the staff off because I'm not gonna pound on kids if we're not gonna pound on the adults too. And so generally speaking, I think I've done it probably only a few times. I've done a public presentation on attendance and every time it gets the adults pretty wound up, but the staff attendance is probably 10% worse than the student attendance in the
Okay.
district. So I try and highlight that a lot, that we can focus on student attendance all we want, but if our workers aren't going to contribute to the level that the students are, it's really hard for us to be pounding on kids for certain things, although doesn't mean we can't we have to continue to work on student attendance because it's huge. If they're not here, we can't help them. So
Yeah, I'm just wondering for that, not for this round, but when we were just talking about the committees and like re-looking at the committee responsibilities, if that's something that we would want to add to, or at least have it in our brain to potentially add back to the ed programs when we relook at the actual list.
Do we have that in your goals last year as well, about attendance?
I don't
Just to monitor it or something?
I don't think it was in the goals. I think we did remember every month we did an attendance
Yeah, I
report
do
to the
remember
board.
that, yeah,
I don't remember if it was in the goals or not.
yeah, I don't either, but like, to your
In fact,
point,
I don't think it was. 'Cause I don't remember pulling any attendance data.
yeah,
We pull it every month. We would just give so every month, we would give the
Yeah.
board attendance data by building, by grade level. And and I did the staff as well, overall staff numbers. We can do that again this year. It's just simple.
yeah, that's easy data to pull,
Yeah.
and so
But
I
I
would,
think to the point of the policy, it probably is worthwhile having a deep dive presentation conversation about attendance at the reorg.
Okay.
Because it's a good time, it's the beginning of July. It's easy for us to take a look back and it's easy for us to then have 2 months to plan on what do we think.
It kind of gives you
We
your
can do.
baseline too.
Yeah,
I just wonder, I'll add it, I'll check the ed program's calendar. I'm not sure if we included something in that, the schedule, but if not, I'll just add it to put it for the July calendar for ed programs, just to, and then that could be, or it may be even in June, so they can be brought forward into the reorg. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Just so is it the check?
yeah.
And I wrote a
Yeah.
note for, like, once we get through publishing all of them, to go back and look at ed committees to possibly add the attendance as one of the pieces.
could you interpret it in any of the descriptions as it could be implied that would be, that it's in there? I don't, yeah, how I want to say it.
In the,
And then the
Could it be-
description, it would be, you could interpret it that it's included in a broad description of what some of the responsibilities are, you could include it, instead of getting specific with the tenants, but I can't.
Oh,
You see what
yeah.
I'm saying, that in a broad description that you could say tenants would be in there, but I don't know where I put that houses. So we might be close to moving this one forward, I think,
I think so.
yeah,
So takeaways are figuring out what a DEO is, who it is, what Project Save is. And then we're confident that all the other appointment positions apply to Rome.
I think that's what you need
Yeah.
to lawyer check, right? That one of the things lawyers gonna check.
And then we agree that student attendance should be in there. Is there something else? I think that was it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy one,
yeah,
fortunately.
I think so, yeah.
Just right, and then. So we'll put this in the pending folder. I like the description. I like that this is like longer, especially like someone who just onboarded, like. I feel like I wouldn't have been as nervous if I looked at this and like kind of
Knew what to
gives a
expect.
clearer picture of what really happens. Okay, so this is pending.
I didn't have that one, maybe I didn't, I just couldn't find it, the regulation one, so I don't know where that one.
What's that?
Voting procedures?
It's the,
Yeah, 21, 20.2. This
maybe
is,
it's in this pile, the new pile that came down.
we did it last time, Karen.
Yeah,
We had-
yeah.
The question was,
I think- Like my pile.
who is
I
the
got it.
chairman? The chairman of the election.
That's right,
Presiding
that's right,
chairman.
yeah.
So I brought it to Dave, and Dave's first response was, we shouldn't even have this policy because it's all dictated by law, so it's a redundant policy. And then he laughed and he goes, please don't tell them that. I said, I'm telling them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. But he said that we don't do this because the way it works is the board appoints the election inspectors, and then the election inspectors within the room choose a chairman amongst
Okay.
themselves as to kind of who's going to be the person responsible for doing all this. So
Okay.
I would say, since it's not necessarily the process that we follow, I don't know that I would put in here that the board is going to appoint a presiding chairman, because the board appoints the election inspectors and they kind of decide amongst themselves who the chairman would be within their room, is our practice.
Is it allowed legally to do it that way?
I would think so, if we've been doing it that way. I mean, we're pretty careful with we have legal,
Procedures.
we have legal review our election procedures every year. So I would think that the way we've been doing it is okay.
Okay, then I'm okay.
So would we just cross that out then, instead of appointed by the board? Just say that each annual and special election or meeting shall have a presiding chairman, woman.
Challenges to voters will be unqualified to vote. I would maybe just use the first sentence and take the rest of it out,
Challenges to voters, believed unqualified to vote. maybe.
because what happened last year when we had people trying to challenge signatures, we just sent them to Dave,
Okay,
who isn't really either one of these. So I would just leave it at the fact that you can challenge voters based on education law, and then that covers us there. And then if the district does change the practice and they do appoint someone to do that, then you're covered. If it stays the way it is, we're still covered. No harm, no foul.
So that we should be able to move forward with that one.
I think so. That was the only question we had, really.
Good.
$23.50, I think, was one that we felt probably needed to have the whole board talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
$23.50.
For meeting procedures.
Yeah. And 23.20.
So how are we gonna do, how are we gonna to bring it forward to the whole board? What's gonna happen?
I think we probably just need to put it on the board agenda as a discussion item. Right? I mean, it's gonna take forever, but you don't really have any other choice, or
We could,
we can just let folks know next policy committee meeting, we're gonna specifically talk about this policy. So either show up and share your input or provide your input in writing so we can make decisions.
that's the better way to go, I think.
I agree.
So we're not, yeah.
All right, I like that a lot.
Do you, this is the one where,
I mean, really, the only thing that's gonna become challenging or controversial about this
Was the
board
public
meeting
comments,
procedures is the
right?
public comments piece.
was there something else? It was, what were my notes on this?
You
one?
had a note asking, this says approval of monthly reports.
Ah, yes.
So those are pretty much just I think the only monthly reports that even exist are the treasurer's reports. There's finance and audit reports, things like that, but any of that stuff would normally be done in the consent agenda. You've got your CSE placements, CPSE.
So we really just want to know the board's opinion on having comments on agenda items and then final open comments for any non-agenda items.
Yeah. And again, kind of like every time I tried to say how challenging it was for you three to come on at the time you came on with that topic, it's the same thing, because quite frankly, without that topic, no one's coming to board meetings to talk.
I know.
So it's one of those, like, when you're doing something very controversial, it's understanding to have two public comment periods, one to talk about things before you act on them, and then one thing's just to vent and spew your venom. But when you don't have anything really controversial that people are showing up to talk about, it literally,
What I
It
do like
doesn't
about
matter.
this though is it's saved till the end. So like people will have to come and be present for the entire meeting if they have any,
just a
Open.
general gripe.
right?
Mhm.
Which means we can get business done and then. So I personally like it. I don't know how you feel, Karen.
You have it at the end too?
Yeah.
They have it both places, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the only question would be. Like. Playing devil's advocate, how do I know? Like if mine is related to agenda item, like how many times do people
the-
come in here? Like, will we have like an agenda?
The agendas are posted prior to,
Yeah,
I mean,
Like,
you saw at the last
meeting.
meeting, everybody came in knowing that they were gonna talk about it. Social media will stir it up if there's an agenda item that they're concerned about, or,
okay,
you know.
okay,
So, and I will tell you, having seen it done. I've seen it done, West Jenny, we did it this way, and it was, believe it or not, there were hardly ever any public comments in the first go round. But people, you'd have your same 4 or 5 community members that sat through every meeting. And really, the meetings were about 30 to 45 minutes long, and then you got to the public comment. And not to say that this would happen here necessarily, but what we would also do at West Jenny was that the second public comment would be when administrators would just make general announcements about things like we all had to attend board meetings there. So everyone in the district was at the board meeting as an administrator. So we would make announcements about like upcoming events that the people wanted to attend their community. So it was kind of a way to offshoot. If people were just coming to spew venom, you'd also have people there to say nice things, and which that can be the only tough thing about it at the end, because if you're gonna wait to the end, you're probably not showing up to say a bunch of random nice things. But I would agree that it does prevent. Great example, the last meeting last year, we had all of our top 10 there to be honored. And somebody showed up just to spew venom right in front of the kids, and it prevents stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, where you can do celebrations and things and not have to have people wonder what's happening.
Yeah.
I remember the kids' expressions were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
That's,
dumbfounded.
Okay, so the way we want to handle this is that something I'll do, is send, or is that something that you would do?
I would say at the meeting on Monday during just general discussion during the policy portion, say we want to move this one forward, but we need your input on what the draft says right there. Forward them the draft and say you have until whatever day to provide any written input you want, and then we'll get you a draft of what is decided.
Okay.
You
so-
probably could also just say that probably the biggest topic is 2 public comments or 1
Right.
or none. I think I've heard some people
I,
suggest none, but again, that's one of those things where unless it doesn't, none of it makes any bit of a difference if you're not having a controversial topic on the agenda.
right,
It really doesn't,
It
because
doesn't.
people,
No.
it's the same concept of the video recording. I keep telling Joe, we're so exposed and liable. We're the only district streaming meetings anymore. Everyone stopped a year ago. And it's not a good thing to be doing. And I understand transparency, but nobody is coming to the meetings.
yeah,
If we don't have redistricting conversations, they just are not coming. There's nothing to come for. And maybe they'll tune in because it's easy from your couch, but I guarantee you they'll stop tuning in too without anything on the agenda that's controversial. So.
all right, so I'm gonna email it after the board meeting by Friday. I think that's reasonable, right? Is that by Friday, we
Sure.
need any comments?
Sure, the better usually.
Yeah,
If people want to get it done,
any comments or discussion points?
because you really want to move it forward.
It should be a pretty standard boilerplate one too. It's
Yeah.
not a.
I don't think it.
That one will go here. Is that, I can just talk about that freely. The agenda doesn't have to be like updated to do that type of stuff, right?
No,
Okay.
No.
I try not to, I truly don't try to break rules, so I just want to make sure I'm not doing anything.
we usually have a
Bad.
discussion period for every part of the agenda.
Okay. All right, so this is going to be board meeting discussion.
This is the big one you coming up on Mondays.
While you were getting the printouts, we went through what I need to say after each one, so I'll practice.
There you
it.
go.
I'll practice at home.
It's nothing like being under the limelight, though.
Just remember, you probably won't have a room full of people
Yeah,
at this
it'll be-
time. No one's gonna be paying attention. This is the
It's
last week of
okay.
summer.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, new board orientation and is the next.
What's it, 25?
These are the beginning of the ones that we didn't get to last time.
Okay. Oh,
And this was old 2052, which I think I put in that packet I just brought over.
hey, yes. Um,
Compared to- well, I'm sure this one's better than, shouldn't say that, we don't know that.
Are these my
Case.
comments on the,
No, those are NISBA.
oh, okay. Um. Did I have any comments on this one?
We didn't get there.
Oh, do you still have my packet?
I do, but I don't think you got that far. Believe. Twenty-three, 30, 23, 23, 23, 50. It looks like you stopped at 2352. No, 2360.
I think the only one I
2360.
didn't get to. Oh, no, maybe I didn't get to this
2410
one.
we did, and then, yeah, 2500s and 2700s.
Yeah. Okay. All right, new board orientation.
And this looks like it's pretty much everything that she pulled over in 2510 is exactly the same, except for the part that's underlined at the top.
Number one.
A mentor thing, though. Is that something we're going, is that in the old policy, a mentor?
I think that's the next one, board member training. Oh, you're talking about, oh, okay.
Oh, it's an E.
Yeah.
New board members,
That
data
is a
assignment.
mentor.
I don't think that's happened since I've been here.
No,
That's something that's been actively done.
no, that's the last time. I know my first go around, I didn't have a mentor. No mentor. It was 2012. 13, something like that. So do we want to keep that in there if we're not doing it? Or does that kind of make,
Is it the role of the president? Or is that for the vice president, president relationship,
to assign a mentor?
like to be the mentor?
There really is no,
It's not
there's nothing.
specified.
Oh, I had like read that somewhere, maybe, might have been on the NISBA website.
Yeah, that's a tough situation because quite honestly,
Like our board is.
with a board of 9, it's really hard to assign mentors, especially in a year we have 3 brand new people. I mean, you've got, our current board only has 2 people that have more than 3 years experience.
Yeah,
I mean, right?
Just
You and
Joe
Joe
and I.
are it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that John, who's in his 3rd year, can't mentor somebody, but you're still, in your first term period, they're still learning a lot every day. I mean, it's not a. So that's an interesting provision.
But we're not doing it, so do we just, or change the words instead of will?
I mean, it's a really tough.
At the discretion of the
That's what,
board?
I mean, this current situation is tough because you've got 6 members that have basically 14 months or less of experience. I'd imagine all 6 would say a mentor would be very helpful, right?
Right, but
But if this policy was reviewed 7 years ago with that board, they'd be like, that's not necessary. We don't
Right,
need that.
don't
Just
need
take it
it.
out. It's really tough. Because it really will depend on the individual, the year.
maybe that's how we change the wording. To make it understood, at the discretion of the board at the reorg meeting or something.
What if we just say new board members, like, may request to be assigned?
Yeah, but say it's a situation where, like say
What-
Joe and I, if, like I'm not running for reelection. Then John is, so let's say Joe and Joe might not, so you could have. If we don't run,
You'll have 9 members with less
less
than
than 2 years.
well,
experience.
only 2 years experience.
Yeah. So
At the most.
at the most,
Who's your
and that's
mentor?
really going to be, and you know,
That's tough to have a mentor.
yeah,
I would say change the language. If we're gonna keep it in there, I would say new board members are encouraged to. Maybe new board members and current board members are encouraged to serve in mentor mentee. Capacity as necessary. Because quite frankly, the honest truth is, I think new people that come on the board, I think maybe not initially, but eventually you find your stride in the people that you gel with and jive with, and they become your go-to for advice. And so
Right.
that relationship kind of can evolve naturally. Which would be a lot better than assigning somebody without knowing each other. I mean, that could be dangerous too on the other. I mean, it could go the opposite way, right?
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
What if we just like flip it on its side and just say new board members are encouraged to participate in committee meetings to like better understand the role? And
I
like
like that.
not even focus on the mentorship, because I mean, that's how I think, like, I won't speak for Kelly and John, but like, that's how I'm learning the most is actually like being involved in the committee meetings and hearing like the kind of the meat of some of the stuff that we do. It's more than obviously just the board meetings. Like, how do we get to the resolutions that are on the agenda that we're voting to? It's by attending the meetings or the committee meetings.
Which we do state in one of the other ones that each member shall serve on one committee, which would solve that, would, you know, we give you that opportunity because everybody's supposed to serve on one committee. But I understand what you're saying, just putting it, what I think happens with that though is that you lose the mentor connection, which I think
Yeah.
is important. It could be very important in depending on the composition of the board. That would be nice to have that as an opportunity. If we remove it, if we lose that, then it's gone. So,
Yeah.
You could have a season board with 6 members, and you have 2 new members. It would be nice to have a mentor in that case. Next year with,
Yeah.
not so much. You're just not gonna have that experience. Kind of like where you were going with your wording, something along
Yeah.
that, you know, encouraging something that, yeah.
New and current.
We could each give ourselves homework and come up with a sentence.
Yeah,
then
we
see
don't
what-
have to solve it today.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Each of us come up with something and see what we like. I think that's the only thing holding this one up, right? Is the mentor thing?
I think so, and then there's gonna be a couple of, I think if you look at, the list of things that people are to be given, like our facilities plan is still in development. I don't know what they mean by a special education plan, because there is no formal special education plan that gets submitted anywhere. So that's kind of more of an informal. You've got your finance plan, your long-range finance plan that's required as well.
And
I would almost,
think our district, the comprehensive, the district, whatever the thing is on the wall. what we wanna
yeah,
call
the
that.
DSIP, I would almost
Yeah.
take out number 6 and 7 and combine them into a copy of any and all ongoing
Yes,
plans
I like that, yeah,
for all departments.
yeah,
Because you're gonna have your RTI plan, you're gonna have your comprehensive plans for the educational programs, you'll
for
have
professional development,
professional development plan, like, there's a lot of stuff that can be provided.
yeah, I like that. No, a list of the board, for number 8, a list of the board memberships policy. Why would they pick that one out of anything else? The school board member travel. Wouldn't it be,
I don't know. So they listed school board memberships policy. Or school board memberships, yeah, as a policy, but they never gave us a draft policy for that.
Because we have one. There's
A
a,
travel.
there's a
We have a
NISBA
travel policy, but we don't have a school board memberships policy.
member travel, school board member travel.
We have that. We don't have a membership in school boards association or a membership in school board. Like board memberships policy. I don't understand that. We don't have memberships other than this, but
Yeah, and that's something we have to decide every year, right?
I would almost say you take 8 out. It seems pointless.
That's how I was going, yeah. Unless there was some other reason it was in there.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You should probably reference the board member training though, right? That policy. Because we only have that's part of that year.
So the way I read these is that 2510 is meant for between the election and the oath of office, and 2520 is following the oath of office or required to be a member.
Because we took ours before we got sworn in.
Yeah, you're right about that. They do it earlier now.
Mhm.
You're not required to though.
We have
No.
one year.
You have 1 year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Most people do it.
yeah, they get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't have to worry about it, but. To me, this is more, getting you ready for kind of things to expect, things to learn. 'Cause the requirements mentioned somewhere else, isn't it? Is that the next one, the 22, that's what you were just saying, the 22?
I think,
25, 20,
what
yeah.
about in item D? It says it is recommended that orientation shall include attendance at workshops.
Including the,
And we just put in there including
yeah.
mandated trainings,
Mhm.
right?
And then add a cross reference.
Good idea.
What's it called? Orientation? Yeah, mandated orientation.
Oh, yeah.
That's number 2510.
25, 20 is the.
Oh,
training.
2520, sorry.
And then this one we're gonna include. So this one, we need to. This one is just the changes, right? Oh, wait, no, we have homework.
Yeah, we gotta figure out that last paragraph.
Extension. I'll put on here, HW,
That's what I go.
homework. You should use an abbreviation too. Yeah, we're rule followers, you and I. Make sure, I can really go to class without our homework done.
This one.
Board member training.
Oh, no, this one's no.
Yeah, we don't have one.
Well, I don't
Oh,
like-
so this is, I apologize, I actually reviewed these are at my house. So this one, I know right off the bat, I had a question of. So members of the board elected or appointed for a term beginning on or after July 1st, 2005 shall within the first year of their term complete a minimum of 6 hours trainings on fiscal oversight accountability. And then it goes into if you were on July 1st, you have a year to complete a training course to acquaint him with the powers. But like, I don't know why we really need 2005 in there.
Paul Haggerty,
Really? Like that would be why.
he was prior to. Mhm. There's a lot of school boards that, this is just copying state law.
Oh,
That's right from state law, and there's, I had thought about the reason why that's written like that, and I figured out the answer, but I can't pull it out quick enough to bore you with it, but there is a reason why it's worded that way. I
forget.
Yeah,
I thought it was
Yeah.
very
there
strange.
is a reason, yeah.
So even though we know that we'll never have anyone obviously elected from that first paragraph, we just keep it.
Yes, because I think it's state law, so I don't think we want to take it out.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case,
Yeah.
because you never know, but I'm pretty sure that it's written there, yeah. Like, but the optional thing on the next page, where it says every board member will complete, that makes it sound like it's required, and it's not. Unless something's changed,
No, it is not.
yeah, so I don't like the will,
There's no need for ongoing professional
and
development.
it's optional, so.
We want to change will to is required or is recommended. Or just take it out.
I would say, if you want any language in there related to anything like that, I would say board members are encouraged to continue ongoing professional development yearly, which address topics pertinent to serving successful school board, successful board members, blah, 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 blah. And then you just take some of that other stuff out.
Let's change it, like, can take.
Because there's some, I mean, you'll find that there'll be some board members that like Steve Hempy just did nothing but professional development. Like he went to every meeting he could and everything he could. Fitzpatrick was one that kind of did a bunch of stuff. Haggerty was here now. I mean, some people want to do absolutely nothing afterwards because they're too busy. They got families and jobs, and other people just, there's certain things that strike their fancy and they want to keep on going with things. So I think just simply saying that it's encouraged. We can probably make some edits in that paragraph. I agree with you, Karen, though, it's probably not something you want in there to make it seem like you're gonna have to do this.
Yeah.
That'll discourage people.
Yeah.
All right, so is encouraged to complete. And then I think you had said something about professional development.
I would say board members are encouraged to
Participate in one
participate in ongoing professional development.
pertinent toward serving successfully as board members, that sounds nice, or whatever, or the other things are. Those is fiscal stewards, yada, yada. Or just professional development, period, keep it simple.
Board
I think it
members,
works, I think it works either
You
way.
could do board members are encouraged to participate in ongoing professional development, which addresses topics pertinent to serving successfully as board members.
Yeah, and then just leave it there.
Yeah.
Just.
You can take, then you take the next one out, next
Yeah.
sentence out.
Mhm.
Such training can take form in the place of law, worship, training by majority. I would take that part out. The board will determine participation and training by majority vote. I don't think that's necessary. Bless you. And I would take the next line out too, about the budget. Only because like last year is a great example, the National School Boards Association Conference was not something that was on the table until they canceled the State School Boards Conference.
Yeah.
And when they canceled that, it was where could we send people to get some training? So the National School Boards was the next obvious choice. And you don't know about some of those things. So I think when you pigeonhole yourself into that type of sentence right there, if you put it in policy, that just opens ourselves up for people to criticize. If you add something at the last minute that you think is valuable for your people, well, you didn't put it in the budget, so you can't go.
Yeah.
Okay. But we don't vote on it?
You still have to vote on travel, yes. But I don't think you should pigeonhole yourselves in saying like, hey, Cassie, I want to go to this professional development opportunity in Rochester. Oh, the board's got to vote. I don't think that's good practice, because then all you're doing is pitting each other against each other. If if you, we don't really have anybody on the board like this right now, but you can have people that will count pennies. And they'll say, we're not spending a penny for you to go anywhere. And then, it forces that tension in a public way where a board member has to say no to another board member that I just don't think is necessary.
Okay. All right, and you said get rid of the like different formats as well.
No, I think those are good. I think
Okay.
those are good. I think, we get rid of in years where board members
Yeah.
complete the stat maintenance, that's not necessary. So it's just really a 2-sentence paragraph.
Okay.
What about let's see, board president will complete? No, I don't think so. So do they have? That's
I
optional
would
too.
take, I hate to say it, but I would take that out altogether. And I say that because I think that will deter people from wanting to do those roles.
I
I mean, I just look at I look at 2 years ago, it was not, finding someone that was interested in being president was not easy enough to begin with. And that would have probably deterred Paul from doing the job, or John. Those 2 years were,
Okay, so that one's gone.
I mean, NISBA has documentation that they can have access to. And
And they had in the group that we did, there was like a specific board officers training that people could sign up for. All right, so that one's good, just some edits.
Yeah. This is progress here. Oh, no. Okay.
Um,
This is the Cassie file. Separated.
School board conferences.
this doesn't look like they added anything to our current policy.
Mhm.
I don't think I have that one.
And we've been the
Oh,
highlight.
probably
I
haven't
got
gotten,
it brought down with me.
haven't gotten there. Or no, maybe.
25, 20. You think that one looking good to you?
I think it's perfect the way that it is. I mean, it's really just a cover your butt policy.
Yeah, so I thought.
So that if community members want to complain about something, it's no different than the staff requirements for travel. I mean, it covers all the right bases in terms of sharing of materials, talking about your experiences, but it's not, so formal that it gets you into doing presentations and
Mhm.
writing reports and all that stuff.
So we already had this one on file.
Yeah,
So we just move it forward with the new number
Yeah.
and get rid of the old one? Are we
Right.
doing it, we're
I
saving
was doing
them in a separate pile, right? We're just gonna do them all at
do
once?
a mass exodus once we get them all in. I don't have any issues with this one.
It's just a simple number change.
2530, we don't have a draft of. They didn't send us anything, but I put it on there just in case if it's something we want to talk about. It's not mandated. We've never had any policy about membership in school boards association.
But it makes us aware that we'll make sure we pay for them every year. I mean, basically,
I think pretty much all it does is it binds the district and the board into participating.
yeah.
And right now, the difference is we just take a vote on the bill every year.
Mhm.
And I don't know that, I can't,
Right, thank you.
honestly, I don't think it's a necessary policy. Because I don't know that you'll ever have a board that turns over enough for people to say it's not a worthwhile investment.
Right.
So,
I
and
totally-
especially now that we have the policy service linked with them too, it's just, it would be stupid. It's just a waste of paper. I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but
No, I'm. So we don't have a draft, we don't have anything on it, so why?
no, I just put it on there to talk about it because it was on their list of things.
So what would we do? Just not move
Just
it
ignore it.
forward, right? Just ignore it, right? That's the first one we ever got to ignore.
Isn't that fun?
Let's do more.
I don't,
What's next? Board staff communications?
This is their old 2046. And they also. Looks like they had changed a few things with it. They shortened it quite a bit.
Yeah. I can highlight it on mine. On the back page of our old current policy. However, staff members are reminded that individual board members have no special authority, yada, yada. And I don't know if that was in this one. We talked about this one, didn't we, Peter? You and I,
Board staff communications.
did we get that far?
We talked about it, I think, in relation to a different policy earlier. Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
it's in
Is it in the new one?
the third paragraph, second
Okay.
sentence says, all official communications, policies, directives of staff interest and concern will be communicated to staff members through the superintendent.
Yeah, but that's not the same, this statement though. It was just reminding the board members that, or staff members, that board members have no special authority. It was the same in the old policy. I don't think it's in here. And I don't know if it should be. I think that's what my thought was. It was not really directed to the board, it was directed to staff members. So if they're communicating with the board, to remember that an individual board member cannot do anything more than listen, if they choose to do so, basically.
It kind of is in alignment with Kelly's email, I think, to Joe the other day, asking about the ask the BOE, and that's another thing that needs to go away. It's just not a good practice to have it, because I don't disagree with her that it's, I mean, it's tough for 9 people to all have the same opinions on things, and really, Joe should never be responding to anything other than thank you for your message. We'll discuss and pass along to the right people. And so if every single response is going to be vanilla, then
Why have it?
why have it? You know, and I did find out, and I didn't realize this, but I think I had them take it down. I didn't realize that they had that email in a prominent spot on the website to get to it. And then I was trying to figure out, like, why are you guys getting some, I keep hearing about all these emails, but this is ridiculous. Like, that's not normal. But if it's somewhere where it's easy for people to
You see it.
access and do it, they're gonna,
They're gonna
just
take it,
blast
they're
things
gonna
off
do
left
that.
and right. So I think that's another conversation to be had, but to that point, right, it's really tough. That email does make it challenging, because really it's not, the types of things that come your direction aren't things that should become your direction. And then it puts you all in a bad position to respond to, talk about, you can't deliberate through email about it to say, Joe, I would like you to, this is how I feel about it, or
Yeah.
you're not gonna talk about it in an open session. It's really puts you guys in a bad spot. I think it was started with good intention. When it started, it was before COVID, in an era when people weren't coming to board meetings, and things would show up on social media, and it was like, look, people, you're you're just putting rumors on social media, you know, ask us directly, and I don't think we got many emails at all until COVID came. I mean, that barely, no one ever used it, but now it's a different story, right?
You know, it's a
So,
different story, yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to. I'm someone that like OCD about my email, like I cannot have anything in my inbox, but I keep things in my inbox until like I see resolution, you know, like in my work, personal life. So like, it could be as easy as like not replying to all, but like I still have all these things like sitting out there that I haven't seen answers to. And then, you know, I agree, it's not necessarily the opinion of all. Okay, so you were thinking. In the new one, it's,
they're very different policies.
they really
Yeah, they really
are.
are.
You know, and I know I talk a lot about chain of command and things, but I do like the new one better because I think it comes from more of a collaborative point of view, other than the old one is very much punitive and you shall not do this and you shall not do that. The new one's more, here's the expectation, this is what will help us achieve, you know, harmony better than anything else.
I mean, it does hit on the points still,
Oh, it
though.
totally does. It's just a
Yeah.
much softer, it's not as
It's soft.
punitive, it's not as, you know, don't do this, don't do that. It's simply saying this is how it should be done. And really, at the end of the day, no one's gonna pay attention to this except for those of us in the room when you
Mhm.
start and I have to say, hey, gang, just so you know, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna have everybody under the sun come wanna talk to you, and here's what the policy is, here's your role, and the union heads will use it too for their people if they can't.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't.
No, I did like this, that was my notes, I just said, doesn't have the visits to school, but I don't think if that's covered somewhere else under NISBA. And then, again, my line about the, this is a reminder that board members have no special authority, but I don't even know if that's needed in this one, so.
I don't,
I like this one though, I'm not, that's what
do.
I'm saying, I like this one.
I don't think there is anything about school.
School visits. I thought there was something.
Well, it does
Okay.
say policy 1030.
Was it in, yeah, wasn't it in the 1000s?
Yeah, I thought there was two, but,
It's what I mean, it's coming from our,
yeah, from the Rome City School District one. So we might have already taken care of it. 1030. Which is on the list of ones we haven't done. Are we done with the 1000? Not the.
no, we have some from. I don't have a 1030. I got a whole list of other ones we didn't do though.
Okay, so maybe we've already
And
done
none
that
of
one.
which look like,
visitors to schools. So I don't think it's specific to the board, really.
which one is visitors to the schools?
It's a
Oh,
reference.
1240.
Is that the NISBA
It
1240?
must be the NISBA one.
Yes, it's a NISBA 1240.
Okay.
And we may have done it.
Get your little Excel thing out.
Yeah, I think the website, oh, there we go. What the? Carl's been playing around with the website.
Oh, that's never good.
I know.
I mean, that makes sense to pull it out, though,
Yeah, I don't like it.
because we are
yeah.
just individuals at that point. And Peter knows my thoughts on this. We're individuals with badges,
Yeah,
which is something we should look at.
we did do it. 1030 visitors to schools. Oh, wait,
That's the Rome's one,
what's theirs?
1240, you said.
Oh, we did it. It's not on the. On the website.
Alright, so we just need to make a note.
We probably should go back to that.
/1240. I mean, I'm fine with still moving forward because we know that there is a policy.
For visitors to schools, whether
Yeah.
it's a new one or an old one.
Right.
Yeah. I like it as it is.
Agree.
Not worried about the individual board member statement, okay. Either way. Seven, 10.
Communication among board members.
This is, we don't have anything for this, and they didn't send us a draft, but I put it on there just. As a discussion.
I would love to see it,
All right, well,
just to see, I mean,
I'm with you.
27, 10.
I'm
Is
thinking,
it, is it regular, do we have a policy already?
No,
No.
I would think
So-
it's gonna be tied to like the whole quorum policy. Like that, in my head, that's like what it would address. But maybe, I'm hoping it talks more about maybe email.
I'm thinking that's what it's gonna address.
Yeah, because if 5 people communicate, isn't it technically a board meeting legally?
Everything is technically a board meeting. I mean, any kind of communication could be considered business. I mean, I just underwent a training that anybody that posts anything on your social media, even if it's, you make one comment, business related, you've now opened up your entire social media as a government record. It's not good. I mean,
So I am not
the
on Facebook.
the oversight stuff is not good. So I mean, I think, I would think that policy would talk a lot about
Yeah,
communication amongst members and,
do we have to get a draft of that from them?
yeah,
Okay.
I'll
You
ask
already know.
Courtney for that.
Okay, so communication 27, 10.
The rest of these, we
Will you
don't,
talk to that on Monday's meeting,
kind
of what you heard at all? I just want people to be like
I
aware,
prefer not to
Okay.
privately, maybe privately,
like executive session.
yeah. It's one of those things where I don't want to say out loud because then
And
we have 1 or 2 people that will start doing that to everybody in this community.
yeah,
They're not. They won't go back either. But they will be at those types of things. So that's my concern, is that if you let people know about it, then
Yeah,
they'll start coming. But I
so we
think
can
I will,
consider that a legal thing because it is legal.
yeah.
So we can cover it under executive
I will
session.
talk about it there. And the problem with it, you go to transparency, it falls in the same boat with the buildings. So all these schools and PTGs that are running Facebook accounts and things like that, like, we're probably gonna be shutting a lot of our social media down, which sucks because
I mean, it's how you, right
it's
now.
the way
it's
of the age,
involvement, yeah.
but less is more, unfortunately.
So I stick to Instagram, it's just pictures. Can't go wrong with pictures. I got rid of. Well, I got rid of for a multitude of reasons, but once I got my top secret clearance, I was like, I don't need any more eyes on me.
Yeah, I know, my
It's
daughter
too
is,
easy.
I think she's the kid, and she's got a Facebook account with like 500 people on it. Why? do
I
you
hate
do it?
Facebook.
I do too, hate it. Why do you do
That's,
this,
I've
child?
been off Facebook for a very long time, and it was the greatest thing.
It
ever.
is. I see people,
That's
all these
why-
people are so worked up over the Facebook. I'm like, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
What are you
I
getting out
stopped, I
of it?
stopped doing it because I had all these people from high school trying to friend me that I hadn't spoken to in like
Right.
20-something years. I'm like, I don't even remember who you are. You wanted to spit on me in school. Now you want to be my friend on Facebook? Like, you know what? I don't need this.
Yeah.
Life is much easier without it.
Yes. I do need to head out in 5 minutes because I have an 11 o'clock client meeting.
That's okay. The rest of these we don't really have drafts for. These are all things that they put in here. So we have 3,000 we do. We didn't move any of the 0,000, zeros, 1,000, 2,000. We didn't do anything with those because Tanya's thought was the whole board needs to weigh in on them. But I mean, I put this in just because we don't have it and it just talks about the goals.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's something, right? I don't know that it's,
I mean, I mean, I highlighted them, I thought it was fine.
right? I mean,
Right,
don't
I
you
mean,
think that
yeah.
3,000 is exactly what the board would
One,
expect administrators to do?
yeah, I just highlighted the high point, so I thought this was okay.
And I bet
Okay.
you it's pretty boilerplate for, NISBA for all their districts.
It's new. And the superintendent stuff, I just didn't. Kind of like, duh, I mean, it's what superintendent does.
Yeah, and we
Then
don't,
ed law, it's, different things. it's all
we have
good.
very few of these policies on our books. Very few.
I mean, we just got,
Okay, thank you.
you must have given two of these to us last time, because I put on my posting, it's up next. That's,
Yeah, well, we only
Okay, I know
had,
those two.
we only had 3,000, 3,100 and 3,120 are the only ones they sent us.
yeah, you said it was up next.
I'm good with 3,000. I'm good with. I think that sounds really good.
Thirty-one hundred is our current 3015. Which I had in the,
In the new pile you gave to us.
at least, sorry, that's the closest one I could find. Which is this.
Yeah, the one, yeah, the legal status.
Well, there's 3015.1 or that one
Yeah, right.
job description.
But that would be the duties, I would think.
Yes, they moved.
That would be new 3120.
Yeah,
All right, where's that little? Oh, there's a tiny little one. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
legal description. You're the CEO.
Maybe the DEO too.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. Very well.
Wow, this is like the shortest I think this is the shortest one I've seen.
No, I think there's a shorter one.
We've had a couple
Yeah.
one sentences.
Quorum is pretty short, I
Yeah.
think, for the ones I've seen so far.
They updated it and made it work. So are we gonna move 3,000 ahead, or is that what you're thinking?
3,000, I think we are. good
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, I like that. So then we have 3,100
Which we don't have
duties.
a draft of.
We're just tying it to this. We have 3,100.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I was looking at the 3110, which is 3110. That's why I said we don't have that one yet.
All right,
no,
these
we
are-
don't. I
Is it-
put 30, our current 3016 in here
So that is basically
under
it.
appointment, but I don't know if that's even correct.
Well, it's done in 92, so I'm gonna guess there's some changes. made.
So I mean, if you read, it says appointment of superintendent, but it talks about the board seeking advice of legal counsel of interested individuals and organizations to hire consultants,
No, we got
to
it.
do the search, final selections done by the board. So I mean, it's not really recruitment, but it's kind of recruitment.
Yeah. 'cause
And it's
if
not a
it's-
policy that's mandatory, that's why they didn't send a draft of it, we don't really, they must not have felt we had one. So. Were we good with 3,100?
I am. I thought it was just basically taking what common sense things and what is, and making it look good. That's how I read it. Oh, it was in this file. It's just, it's just your duties. It's 100.
And 3110 is the recruitment
Yeah.
one, which,
I'm good with 3,100.
do we want a draft of the recruitment policy from ISBA, or do you want to just scratch it?
I'd like to,
Well,
We can get a draft, it's okay, I'm sure they have boilerplate.
yeah. I think it's important because, it's no, hopefully we won't be going through the process, but it'd be nice, especially because we're a young board, to know what to do in case it happens, so. I hope it doesn't happen, I'm just saying,
There's a lot of options,
yeah,
unfortunately.
alright, so,
I'll ask them for that. And then 3120, they gave us a draft, but that's pretty much a mirror image of our 3015.1, which has not been updated.
probably since 92 again, no, 08,
Wow, look at that.
wow. Is this kind of what's in your contract, I wonder,
No, I don't have much job description.
in your
on my
contract, okay, I couldn't remember.
I feel like I would need to sit down and read this one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It's a
too
beast.
big to, I agree, it's too big just to plow through it, so.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, two of them we can move
The
forward.
3200 ones, ladies, they are, we don't have anything even close to that in ours, in our policy. And I don't know, I mean, I can ask NISBA for a draft of them if you want. I would. I can kind of see maybe 3200, I wouldn't mind seeing what they have for that. 3210, I don't understand how that's different than 3200, but.
Right,
And 3230, I would caution putting in policy,
no.
and I remember just as like a practicality, right? When I came on board, we had an opportunity to do some things different organizationally. But any smart superintendent would still pass that through the board and say, this is what I'm thinking. Are you guys in agreement with this? Will you approve this? Will you? Right? I mean, you're not just gonna walk in the door and be like, well, we're gonna get rid of this and we're gonna do this. And so I think putting an org chart in policy is a little bit dangerous because it does
I agree.
handcuff you if you need to do something creative.
Yeah, the only thing I would see is like a policy that literally says, see website for
Right.
latest
Copy
copy.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Or
a copy
exhibit
of
or
the existing can be made available upon request.
So do you want me to get a draft from these other ones from NISBA just to see?
The only thing I'm wondering with the organization versus the team, I wonder if the organization is like positions and then the team is like the roles, but I feel like those are worded really weird.
I'll just ask for a draft. We'll see what they got.
You got the one home,
Duties. And the mentor
oh, do
paragraph,
you want us to review this one?
the duties, I don't think, it was pretty long, I
Okay.
don't think we decided to.
Okay.
So I'll get some drafts from NISBA.
And
The
the
ones
org
we-
chart, we're just gonna, no
Scratch
adoption,
that
right?
one, yeah.
Okay.
And then, so the next agenda, we'll go back at anything that we didn't finish up on here or sign off on, we'll put that on there, and then I'll put on the next agenda. This list of zeros and 1000s that we don't have. There's about 20 of them from the zeros and 1000s that we didn't get to.
Can you have, you have these printed up, like the matches, and then we could
For
maybe
the
grab a
zeros and
Monday,
1000s?
like grab a Monday at the board meeting, so we can split them up.
Sure.
So this one here. is
For the ones that we have, we might not have, we might not have drafts of all of these,
Yeah, just whatever,
so we
yeah,
can do that.
how we did it for the 2000s worked really well, as I sat on my couch with like tea and did it at night.
So the duties of the superintendent, we don't have a draft from NISBA, right?
We do.
Yes,
Oh, we do, okay,
yes.
making sure.
So, yeah, that's NISBA,
3120.
NISBA 3120, it's our current 3015.
Okay, so it's in this pile, it's in the ones that looks like it's.
The ones I gave you today.
I got it, okay.
Yeah.
I just missed it first, that's First name, got it. Okay, so it's our homework.
All right, so we've got some homework. We're gonna request some drafts. I needed to look at. What was this one? This was the building visits. Just confirm the status of that one. I should do notes, right?
We've never done notes for
Oh, okay.
policy. There's so much to capture, it wouldn't make any sense.
We
I mean,
tried
and-
it, we
and
tried
quite-
it. was
We
just
tried
this
it
one.
and it's
was
not
this
good.
one.
And the reality is, your minutes should simply say, discuss policy 2250, move forward for first reads, discuss policy,
Which is what's
Okay.
gonna happen.
do more homework, you know,
Okay.
it's.
All right. Okay, so make sure we figure out building visits, requesting certain drafts. We have a couple homeworks. And then on Monday, we'll get the new ones to review, and then we'll split those up and work on those for the next one. Awesome. All right. I'll put that there. Do you want me to send you a picture of it? Like the little notes, or do you have them?
I think I got it
Just
all.
all my little.
Oh, you can send it to me now, they can verify, but I think, but no, 'cause I was trying to, no, you can, it's always good to.
I'll send you them.
All right,
All right. That will work. Terrible picture. That was a picture. All right, these are what we're pushing forward. I move to resolution. Got this. What do I have to 22? Well, it looks like it stopped raining for us.
You know, good the sun may be out, judging by the building there. There's the building.
All right. I will see you both on Monday. Have a great weekend.
you as
I
well,
think it's supposed to be nice.
cross our fingers.
Mm. This is such-